Right, today we're removing and refitting the rear quarter light window, side window from a Discovery1. And the easiest way to get the window out is just to cut the old rubber off at the position where the window edge is. Make sure you don't slip, don't need to press too hard because you can just pull the rubber off the rest of it. Now the reason that I'm changing this rubber is because it's somewhat perished and split. It's basically an age thing. See around the corners here. Tried filling them, which is a temporary solution. The new rubbers themselves are greatly expensive. So this one's got the I think it's a side aerial. So on the inside I've disconnected the push-on plug. Okay, pull the rubber off, that should be enough. That down. So one should be able to carefully prise off the window, getting ready to catch it. There we go. That's the old window out, and it should be pretty straightforward to remove the rubber. There we go. So having removed the rubber, clean up the surface, all sorts of things you can use, pound degreaser, various cleaning agents. Quite like to use a bit of T-cut. Haven't had in the garage. It's good, very slightly abrasive cleaner, and did quite a good job of removing bits of the sealant I put on to cover over the cracks in the old rubber. Just rub hard and they eventually come off. So have that nice and clean so you get a good seal with the new rubber. It's going to go on soon. That's the old one. This is the new one. You'll see that it's got a tiny little cut, which is for the cable or the aerial to go through. So obviously that has to be roughly in that position there, and then it just bends round, fitting the apertures, so you can tell which way around it goes as well. Right, so next we have to refit the rubber to the glass, which is a very tight fit on new rubber. So it's best to water the glass and the rubber with spray water. Gives it a little bit of temporary lubrication. Start at one corner and push and stretch the rubber towards the other corner, because getting this last corner on is very, very difficult because it's very tight, and it helps to have a little bit of plastic like this just to lever it over that final corner. And oh, you can see how tight it is. Now we roughly get it in place. Whoa! While we actually feed the rubber, or feed the glass into the slot. Like so. Once we get past this corner, that's the job done on fitting the rubber. I think we need a little bit more water because it's getting very sticky. There we go. See how much easier that goes in now. And the other thing we have to make sure is that the stretch of the rubber is consistent all the way around, because these corners of course have got to fit against the glass, and we don't really want one corner a lot tighter than the other. We really want a consistent tension on it, so I'm going to have to try and push and pull a little bit on the rubber till it feels even all the way around. Right, that's the rubber fitted to the window. Now to refit the window we need to feed some cord or cable into this slot here where my thumbs are, which is basically the deepest slot, which is where the metal from the bodywork goes into it. And it's fitted from the outside, and we either need to get a bit of cord. Found a cord like this has worked reasonably well in the past, but this time I'm going to use a piece of electrical cable like this. So the advantage of plastic is that it will probably slide easier over the rubber, so we'll give it a go. So it's going that way up. So what we'll do is loop it all the way around, feeding into the slot. Now this is only my second window I've done, so this really is for the DIY person who has never done it before, as I hadn't when I fitted the other side. So don't be afraid to give these things a go. Did a small amount of reading on the internet beforehand. On a forum or other, where somebody was asking the same question about how you fit these things. Somebody suggested doing a loop at the bottom and having the open ends at the other side, so we'll try that, see if that helps out a little bit. And one of the guys also said lubricating it with water is the thing to do, which I can very much agree with, because the rubber on its own is very sticky, and it certainly needs a lot of water to allow the rubber to slide easily over the metalwork of the car body, and of course to allow the cord to slide over the rubber. So now what we'll do is get lots of water on the rubber with our water spray. Give that a good working over, and maybe just a little around the car bodywork. All this will evaporate off over time, so don't need to worry too much about that. Make sure the cable goes into the car, and if possible try and feed the right slot, which is that one there, onto the bodywork to at least get it started, and maybe able to feed the whole bottom of the window, in fact, onto that particular slot. So let's see if we can do that. I think that is going to be probably a little bit too difficult. So what we'll do is do a little bit of cord pulling. So this is the one. Hopefully you can see this on the video. And it's pulling the cord, which is hopefully pulling the right flap of rubber over the metalwork. On the corners it gets very, very tight, and this is where we need to push in somewhat, as well as pulling. That has pulled the rubber into the right place. Now we can push the rubber over somewhat. And you see here where it goes around the corner, we need to make sure that rubber is pulled out so we can get in the right position. Just rub our finger around there, which is nicely lubricated, I have to say, with a piece of with some water. And I hope that rubber will stay in that position. Let's give that a little bit of a push over again, and then we'll do the same with this side. Get that rubber little lip to sit on the outside of the bodywork, like so. The outside will be easier later when we pull this other piece of cable, which we might as well do now. A little bit difficult to reach now, so what I'm going to do is pull with one hand, push with the other. And that, I believe, is starting to go on. It certainly looks like the rubber's in the right position. What we could actually do with is probably a little piece of plastic just to run under there. Let's assume we can't get our finger in there. Maybe we can actually get our finger, which we can. Okay, that's good. Now the window is actually held in sufficiently well by the bottom of the rubber. So what we can do now is go on the inside, and we don't have too much of a problem of the window falling out, or too much of a worry I should say, because it's held in pretty securely by the bottom rubber already, and it's handy having the back door so close, of course. Now I managed to feed that cable around the corner a little bit more, which hopefully will help. Now as I'm pulling on it, I'm going to hold on to the other end, actually with my knee, to make sure it just doesn't pull the cable along and keep some tension on it. If we can get around this corner, that will be a good part of it done. There we go, hopefully it's coming out okay. You can see it just about popping over the metalwork. And we'll go outside, give it a bit of a push, and at the same time get some water, and again pull up the edge while pushing on the window. It's not going to go fully in, of course, because the other corner is not in, and glass doesn't bend terribly well. A bit more water, especially on my fingers. That's enough to get it stay in. Now, as soon as we get the other corner, we should be in good shape. So we've actually got two cables now, which will help us pull it in. So I think we'll do this one and this one at the same time. Or maybe I'll just work around with this one. We need a bit of a push because it's very close to losing its hold on the metalwork. And again, we need to pull up this rubber lip a little bit, make sure that's not blocking our travels. And then this is starting to lose a little bit. I think what we can do is pull down on these two cables, which pulls, Mr. Robingham, can you see this? Which pulls the window down somewhat, as well as pulling the lip over. Now that last little lip should come. There we go. And now we give it a good push, and we have to sort out this bent piece of rubber, for which we got a little bit of plastic. Feed that in somewhere. There we go. Now all I do is make sure we don't pull, of course, on the window, which will pull it back out again. So push on the glass while bending this last piece of rubber over. I need to give it a bit of a pull. See, the glass itself has gone in quite nicely now. Just this rubber we need to work out around the corner. And we'll go back into shape once we've pulled it all around. I think I need to do the top edge as well. Which is there. Give that a good push in. Right. Let's get this piece of rubber over again. There we go. Now we'll check on the inside. Rubber is in the right place. It's getting there. Certainly is over the lip. Maybe missing just a little bit here. Yeah. Which we can rectify with either a piece of plastic or just grabbing hold of the lip over with a screwdriver and working that rubber over a bit more. There we go. So if your cable doesn't quite pull the lip over or it pops back, you can give a little work over with a sharp implement like that. And we want to poke it behind the plastic like so. And what else we've got to do? We've got to check that the rubber is not jamming against the interior trim work. So far it is not. And the bottom piece of rubber should just pop over the plastic trim work, so we'll just work that around. The rubber's folded over a little bit, so we need to get in, work it out like so. Whoops, don't want to do that. Try and avoid slipping because I make all sorts of scratches if we do that. Alright, see, the rubber is actually stopping the window moving in further because it's actually pushing against the interior trim. Yeah, right, I think we'll go and push the window a bit more now. See, it's very much getting in its final position now. Yeah, just a little bit of rubber bent back on that corner. So, get our piece of plastic. So the electrical cable did actually work reasonably well in that case, as well as, if not better than, the cord, I would say. I think the secret is to perhaps have a bit more overlap between the two ends of the cable or cord if you use it, so that you make sure that you can pull through all of the rubber. So I think we're pretty much there now. Let's just wet this rubber a little bit more again. See the line where the old rubber was, so we're not far off it. Of course, this rubber is a little bit more curved, whereas the other one was quite flat, so I think the glass is probably in a rather similar position. That's near enough final position. It will probably flatten down with age. The important thing is the window and the rubber is fitted correctly over the paintwork. And give it a clean up. Wipe all of the residue from the rubber, and I guess it's lubricant, off the window, off the rubber, and well, that's pretty much how you remove and refit the rear quarter light window. Hopefully that'll last another 20 years or so. I haven't bothered putting any additional sealant on the inside of the rubber because it's a very tight fitting piece of rubber, and there was no sign of corrosion underneath it from where I removed it, so obviously not getting any water, or at least not any corrosion going in there. And I think if any did get past this first level of seal, it would just run down and out because the metalwork is standing up on the inside of the rubber. So that's it, and thanks for watching. Bye.